All right, kiddos. So today we're going to discuss a little bit about the hydraulic cycle, also known as the water cycle. As we see here, we have some different cards to sort to show how the hydraulic cycle works. So I am going to start just by kind of sorting my pieces out here, picking out all of the pictures first, and then the terms, and then my arrows. You will use all of them, so it's important that you know what you have. We know that clouds go in the sky, so I'm going to put the clouds up here. You got your water down here, nice pretty ocean. You got your soil underneath the ground. You got some mountains. You got some more clouds up here, a nice tree, and of course, let's put the sun over here, the sun. Okay, so that's all pretty self-explanatory. We know that the ocean is on the ground and the sun's in the air. Now we're going to take a look at how these different terms go in this cycle. So we're going to start with some easier terms, some things that you are already aware of. Let's start with evaporation. You guys should already know what evaporation is. We see this on a daily basis. It's when liquid water is going to evaporate into a vapor. So it's changing from its liquid state to its gas state. So we're going to take from the water here, and we're going to say it's going to go up into the sky. So it's turning from liquid water to water vapor, and that process is called evaporation. Whoops, excuse me. Oh, I thought I had another one. Okay, sorry. So that is evaporation. Oh my goodness, I knew I had it. Okay, so evaporation is when liquid water is going to go into a water vapor, and now that water is in the sky. Another one you guys know that's really popular is precipitation. You guys know precipitation. Precipitation can come in a lot of different forms. It can come in the form of rain, snow, hail, sleet. Any of those things would be considered precipitation. So it's not just rain. So when the cloud over here, you see that this cloud has a little bit of rain on it, it's going to be going down into towards Earth's surface. So this is exiting Earth's atmosphere, this is entering Earth's atmosphere. So it's very important you understand the components that are going on here. So precipitation goes down, so that's why my arrow points down. Evaporation goes up into the sky, so my arrow points up. All right, now we're going to get into some harder ones that you probably haven't seen before. Let's start with another one I think is fairly easy to understand. It's called accumulation. Accumulation is basically when the water collects in one area, and that could be in the form of oceans. It can be in the form of lakes, rivers, streams, any of that. That's all called accumulation. So we're going to put that term right over top of our ocean because it accumulated to create an ocean. Next, we are going to use this term called transpiration. Now, this is probably a new term for you. Transpiration is when liquid water that's off of different plants goes into the atmosphere. So that's why our tree here is going to play a role. We're going to point that the liquid on the tree is going to transpire into the atmosphere. So that liquid is becoming a water vapor, another way in which water can get into the atmosphere. So far, there's two ways water can enter the atmosphere, and that is evaporation and transpiration. Okay? Going off of that too, we'll do the last one that allows it to enter the atmosphere. Let's do sublimation. Sublimation is also probably one you haven't heard before, and this is a little tricky one. Do you see over here in our mountains how we have some snow right here? That snow is key because that's where we have to put our arrow above for sublimation. Because sublimation is when a solid state of liquid, such as snow, a solid state of water, is directly turned into a water vapor without first becoming a liquid. So it goes from solid to vapor. So this is also water entering its atmosphere. Solid to vapor. Notice that anytime it goes into the atmosphere, it's a vapor. So this is going from liquid to vapor, liquid on trees or plants to vapor, solid to vapor, not coming to liquid first. That's sublimation, okay? Infiltration is our next term. Infiltration, it's kind of got like a brown and a green on the top. That's for a reason, because infiltration is when water seeps underground. So this soil is showing that it's underground, underneath that tree there. So underground, we're going to have our term right here, infiltration, okay? So when water seeps down into Earth's surface, that's called infiltration. It's infiltrating the ground. Runoff. Runoff is a one that's pretty self-explanatory. Runoff is when gravity naturally takes water to go down a hill or go down any kind of landform. So we have a mountain right here. When water runs down this mountain and collects in an area, that's called runoff. Okay, so we're going to put that right here. It's kind of overlapping here, but runoff is when we go directly off the land and it will accumulate in either an ocean or a lake or a puddle or whatever it is that it accumulates down to. Last but not least, condensation. Now condensation goes up here towards our, actually I think that this one goes over here. We're going to borrow this one. Runoff, we'll just put air down so you know how that goes. Condensation is when a vapor in the air turns into a liquid. So first what happens is the water gets brought into the atmosphere either by evaporation, transpiration, or sublimation. Once that water is in the that vapor is in the atmosphere, it's going to condense in those clouds. And when it condenses in those clouds get really, really heavy. And when they get so heavy that they can't hold anymore, then they have to release that water somehow. That's when you get precipitation. So condensation comes first. It has to condense in the cloud gets too heavy, and then it's going to release it in the form of rain. Okay, so let's review real quick what we have going on here, because it looks like a lot going on. There's three main ways that you can get water into the atmosphere. Evaporation, which is a liquid into the water vapor. Transpiration, which is a liquid on a plant into the atmosphere. And sublimation, which is a solid, like snow, going straight to a vapor without first becoming a liquid. Now, water can come down through precipitation and condensation. Condensation is when it condenses in a cloud, it gets heavy, it will release that water. That water will come down in snow or ice or sleet or rain, anything like that, hail. All of that's considered precipitation. Runoff is when your water is going to naturally be brought down by gravity and it will accumulate into some form, an ocean, a lake, a stream, anything. And finally, infiltration is when water is going to go underneath Earth's surface and be soaked up by the soil. And this helps our awesome plants because that's how they get their water. So I hope this makes sense as your water cycle. And next you need to complete your interactive slides. Thanks for watching, kiddos. See you next time.